Hello everyone, welcome back to VIET channel, and today there's another episode in English. And today, as usual, we have Dr. Phạm Hiểu Lim on the show. Hello, Dr. Phạm Hiểu Lim.
Hello, Rachel, and good morning to everyone.
Good morning. And as many of you recently heard that there will be a D.O.G.E reform, and what is it, and why today Dr. Phạm Hiểu Lim want to pick this title or this theme to share with you about. And right now, please take it over.
Well, thank you. The reason that I like to talk about this D.O.G.E reform because it's really the most significant thing that will happen as a result of the recent presidential election. And President-elect Trump have come true with his promise to shrink the federal government, and he appointed Mr. Elon Musk and Mr. Vivek Ramaswamy to head the Department of Government Efficiency, and or DOGE. The This thing is a big thing, and these two gentlemen have promised that they will finish the work by the 4th of July 2026. That means that in about a little over a year and a half, they will have to produce results. And the reason that we need this reform and the success or failure of this reform will determine the life and culture of the United States, and the success or failure of the modern Republican Party under President Trump, which is the nationalist party that geared toward the people and the labor and the working people, the middle class people of the United States. If they fail, then everything will return to status quo, and everybody know that the status quo is not good because the federal government is spending a lot of money, and they just have a severe budget deficit. And if you just keep printing money and you don't have the economy to back it up, then the inflation will get worse and worse. And during the last 4 years, we have endured inflation, and we all know how unpleasant that is. What happened is, in the history, if you look at what inflation and the causes it can do, is like during the Hitler time in Germany, all the economy has gone into war, and the real economy don't produce anything but war machines and weapons for war, and the goods are not produced, and so many people go after a little good, and so the price increase, and the government just keep printing out money, and soon the inflation was out of control. In recent years, everybody knows that Argentina have experienced severe inflation under the control of the socialist government. There's several governments were elected by Argentinian people. They follow the socialism, and pretty soon inflation got to 90 or 100% per year, and the country is controlled by what is called now statism. And in statism, most of people work for or receive benefit from the state, and the people who work for the state control everything, but they produce almost nothing. Everything they produce is just a service, and the service is to distributing the government largesse to its citizens. So the economy is weak, and the inflation got out of control and reached over 100%. Finally, about 2 years ago, the Argentinian people elected an economic professor who is a libertarian, and he's fiercely against statism. And he wants the Argentinian people to have a real economy and produce something instead of receive something from the government, from the state, is for nothing. And so he, right after his election, he went to work and he slashed the government of Argentina, and he opened the private economy for people to produce. He slashed the regulations and all the things that have held the Argentinian people down. And after 2 years now, the inflation rate in Argentina, and his name is President Xavier Milei, and after 2 years, the rate of inflation have gone from 100% per year down to now about 2.7%, which is almost like a miracle. So it can be done, and because of that, President-elect and soon to be the 47th President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, have appointed Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to head this D.O.G.E department and try to trim down the federal government. By Constitution of the United States, the federal government shouldn't be the way it is right now. It was the government of the people, by the people, and for the people throughout the 19th century. But in the 20th century, President Woodrow Wilson expanded the government. He expanded several agencies. He started getting over the Congress and violate the Constitution. But because the economic of the United States was so strong, with the beginning of the combustion engine and the petroleum-based economy, that everybody would not oppose what he wanted to do. And then during the 1930s, big economic depression, then President Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected, and he used some socialistic programs for the federal government to rescue the depression in the economy, and therefore he increased the size of the government even further. And then, of course, World War II happened, and the federal government had to have all the powers to fight the World War II, and statism started expanding. And then after the Vietnam War, the Lyndon B. Johnson expanded the federal government further with more socialistic programs. And then during the President Obama time, he's again expanded the federal government even further. And during the last 4 years of President Biden, the federal government have violated the constitutional right of American citizens. And we've been monitored, and several people were arrested just because they don't agree with the government. And the Justice Department is going to prosecuting one direction and not the other. And even FEMA is only rescue people who are Democrats, and they will not help people who are Republicans. So it's got to be really a mess. And the American people finally, elected President Donald Trump because the economy is down, inflation is up, the federal government abused its power, violated the Constitution, and the deficits, budget deficits, is so bad, and the government have become so inefficient because of all this program that are so neo-Marxism, like the DEI and so on. So Mr. Musk and Mr. Ramaswamy is tasked with this big task, but they are uniquely qualified to do it because in the 21st century now, we're not talking about using the method of management of the 20th century. In the 20th century, when you want to manage an organization or a business, you have to gather data, and then you have to come up with a statistic. Now, the computer can help you generate a statistic and charts. And for management, when you want to evaluate a process, you use a so-called fishbone chart, but the data have to be put in by hand. And so even though the computer may help you to generate the chart, you have to put the data in by hand. And that, for an organization as big as the United States federal government, that will be very complicated. And that's why after all these long years of waste, abuse, and fraud, the federal government still can't get it under control. And the latest audition of the Pentagon failed because the people who run the Pentagon don't know where several hundred of billions of dollars were spent and accounted for. So it's really bad. But in the 21st century, there's a thing called mega database. And nobody in the world right now has the biggest mega database than Mr. Elon Musk, because he has X with his Twitter, he has Tesla, he has SpaceX, he has Starlink, he has a lot of programs where he gathers data. Even Mr. Zuckerberg with the Facebook and Meta still don't have as much mega database as Mr. Musk. And after he acquired Twitter, then he slashed the workforce by 2/3, and he's still running X now, even better than it was Twitter before, indicating that when you have a mega database, you can come up with solution. And Mr. Ramaswamy also have experience in business and corporation in medical biotech. And so he's also a master at looking at data and come up with solution to generate profit. So these two individuals will have this mega database to work with from the federal government, and then they will use a similar method of meta-analysis. So with mega database and meta-analysis, they'll find out where the inefficiency, where the waste are, and where the unnecessary departments are. And some departments have been known to not belong to federal government, like Department of Education or Department of Agriculture. So those departments will be looking at first, because education in the United States is a local thing, and all the school board are elected by the local people, and the school board will decide the curriculum and the personnel, and the budget mostly came from the real estate taxes of people who live in the area. So the federal Department of Education really is a stretch and is overreach. On the same thing with agriculture, not 50 states are the same, and each one should have the Department of Agriculture of that state instead of the federal government getting involved in agriculture. One of the bad things about the Federal Department of Agriculture in Congress that Rachel and I have talked about is the overproduction and cultivation of corns. And we have more corns and we know what to do with, and then they come up with all kinds of things to use that surplus of corns, and several products that came out of it, whether they feed animals or they make sugar or they put in gasoline, all that cause damage to our health, our environment, and so on. So yes, we need corn, but we don't need the amount of corn that we have right now. And this federal Department of Agriculture was part of the problem for that. So several things that these people can do. And of course, when you do this thing, for the American people, after 100 years of federal government just keep expanding and finally violating our constitutional rights, that when people who try to do this, they are revolutionary. And when you have a revolution, you always will have the reactionary. And so there will be the resistance, the reactionary thing like that. But if the revolution is successful, then we'll have a better United States with less waste, fraud, and abuse. Hopefully, the budget will be balanced. We'll have less foreign debt, and we'll have a stronger economy. That is the hope. So we just have to wait for another years and a half. But meanwhile, we have some of the smartest people working on that using the latest technology of mega database and meta-analysis. And so it's not the 20th century anymore, it's the 21st century. And I'm so glad that President-elect Trump has appointed these two individuals into that job. It's the most important job of our time right now. And we just pray for success. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I am very excited about what America will do, especially with the DOGE reform, because as of right now, if you pay attention to the national debt, the total of our national debt right now is surpassed what $35 trillion, right? It's almost $35.5 trillion. That's a lot of money. So if we don't have the solution to cut down the expense, the debt will be piled up as well. So this is definitely a revolution for the America.
Yes. And, if President Xavier Milei could do it in Argentina, and he doesn't have all the technology for management that Mr. Elon Musk and Mr. Ramaswamy have, but yet he could do it, then in the United States, we probably can do it as well. All it needs is a will of American people. As long as American people support it, it will get done, and we will have a better United States. But the reactionaries and the resistance will be there. We just have to overcome them.
Yeah. And so far with the lefty media, how are they reacting to the DOGE reform?
Well, the lefty media is in disarray right now. You heard that NBC is going to drop MSNBC. So the most hateful TV on cable will be left on its own. And, they just can't get any more milk from the mother NBC. So we'll see how they will do. CNN has tried to get better lately. And of course, the Washington Post and the New York and the Los Angeles Times, the owners have forced the employees to be more truthful and more balanced in their coverage. That's left the New York Times is right now. I don't know what the New York Times will do, but I guess they will have to, go with the flow if they want to survive. All we need is real journalism. That's the way it used to be until the time of the Vietnam War. Somewhere along the line, and during the time of the Vietnam War, the journalism in the United States deteriorated, and it's lasted until just now. So now it's way too late, but they have to reform, and they're reforming themselves, I believe.
That's great because now is a time for change,
Yeah.
revolutionize. Yeah, now is the time for change. So if they don't change, they will be left behind.
Yes.
So they
So,
have no choice but to change. Yeah.
yeah, change to survive. Otherwise, yeah, not only they left behind, they won't survive.
Do you think all of this, we could say it start with Elon Musk took over the Twitters?
Yes, if you well, all this started because the federal government violated the citizens' constitutional rights, and the violation of the First Amendment is the most egregious. And when Elon Musk bought Twitter, then he discovered the Twitter files, and so when they uncovered the Twitter files, and these very good journalists like Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger started writing about that and published it. Then everybody, the people, the American people, then know that how bad it was. And there is now a documentary film about the Twitter files. So if you don't want to read, you can Google for the
But
film and yeah, and watch that Twitter files film. Yeah, you will see how serious that is. So yes, we have to credit Mr. Elon Musk for this. He's used to be a libertarian leaning left, but now he's a true libertarian, trying to restore liberty for American people.
Yeah, because I heard from a couple interview and Elon Musk have said he been voting for Democrats before, but just about 3 years now that he changed to Republican because he see that the Democrat Party they change a lot and it's not like a party that they used to be.
Yeah, well, there's a realignment of politics in the United States where the Democrats now embrace, you know, Chinese family, and the Chinese family are the one that you know support military-industrial complex and use intelligence service to generate fake report to invade Iraq and cause all kind of death to American service people. In the meantime, other people make money. So that is very bad. And yet now they were out there campaigning for um, Kamala Harris.
Mm.
So yeah, that's why they lost because it's a bad realignment. Why that Mr. Trump got attacked by the deep state, but it actually he's got the support of the union and support of the fighters, firefighters, support of the police, support of the working class, and so that's what he wants. And it is true a realignment. The Republican Party has now become part of the Democrat Party, and some part of the Democrat Party is now part of the Trump Republican Party. The Trump Republican Party has Robert Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. So I will take Robert Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard uh, any day to my political alliances because they are truly people, good people for the people. So it is we return to the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Meanwhile, the Democrats have become the party of the uh, powerful plutocrats by the lobbyists and for bad causes.
Hmm. That's a great way to put it. That's awesome. And another way that I look at the last administration is they are the government for the illegal. And by the illegal, somehow I feel like there's a lot of states that blue when they vote and they have no ID. So I feel like, yeah, they the government by the illegal too, because when you have no ID, then how do we know who the heck you are, right? But their state, they allow that to happen.
Yeah, the Biden and Harris are puppets, but people who control them intentionally open the border
Hmm.
so that number one, uh, businesses such like food processing or chickens or all those things, slaughterhouse will get cheap laborers who don't necessarily have to speak English. That's number one. Number two is uh, they will get in the people that they can make them vote
That's right.
for the Democrats, because if you don't have voter IDs, then the machine can make people vote. That's back to the day of the daily machine politics in the city of Chicago, which was Democrat. And the third one is they also profit from um, you know illicit drugs trafficking like fentanyl uh, by organized crime, and that they got a share on that. And then the last one is the pedophiles. They
Mm.
they got human trafficking, but children trafficking to supply for the evil pedophiles in the United States. And some of the evil pedophiles, American evil pedophiles, are very rich and very powerful. And so a good number of those children are still unaccounted for after they cross the border. So, in the next few years, we have to find out what happened to them.
Awesome. Yeah, recently when I traveled to California and my airport base is Atlanta, and when I go there, I'm like, oh my God, I do feel the difference because, of course, like Atlanta airport is extremely busy, but this time they have a lot of non English speaker, like completely none. I'm like, wow, like you can feel there's a lot of Latino in the airport. I'm like, it's a big change after all the illegal moving over, and I'm like, I cannot wait to see the change in America.
That's right. And well, President Trump have appointed a new border czar, and he's going to carry out some deportations. And the first priority will be deport the criminals. But after that, you know, they will have to reassess case by case. But the criminals certainly will be gone. About 30,000 of them probably will be gone very quick. And then after that, they will use the the legal system here and whatever the law requires, and see who can stay and who will be deported.
Awesome. I'm very excited for the next few years to come, and I want to see all the changes lay out in the future as well to make America great again. Anything else that you would like to share in this video before we end it?
Yeah, there'll be all kind of changes in the federal government, and there'll be a good number of things that people try to do to revive the production base in the United States, so we won't have to do problem with the supply chain that we have right now because of China and things like that. So, but the D.O.G.E reform is the biggest thing of our generation. The D.O.G.E reform will get the government back to the Constitution, and will control the inflation, and will reduce the budget deficit and the national debt. So we all should hope and pray for the D.O.G.E reform. But what may give me faith is that Mr. Musk and Mr. Ramaswamy are uniquely qualified for this humongous task, because Mr. Musk own mega database, and Mr. Ramaswamy and Mr. Musk, both of them, know how to use it. So this is a new day, the 21st century, and hopefully the big reform, the 21st century, will give a rebirth of the American spirit in the United States.
That's awesome, because Elon Musk alone is already a genius. He's a star, like how Trump always say, this is a star that have born, right? And now he combined with VIET too, so two awesome people. And
Yeah.
and another thing is the D.O.G.E reform is only temporary, right? As the plan, they only do it until July of 2026. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. Hopefully they'll meet that deadline, and everything will be fine. But what we want to do is, there's a difference between a youth coming out of college in the United States and the youth coming out of college in Europe. A youth coming out of the United States wanted to do a startup or join a startup business,
Yes.
While a youth coming out of Europe want to become a government employee.
Because they get paid so much, but then they work so little, huh?
Statism. Europe is statism. United States is private economy. The business of America is business.
That's right.
So with the D.O.G.E reform, that will even become more vigorous, and that just bodes well for the American future.
That's awesome. Because I remember in one of the interview video, Elon Musk say too, it's like the department of the U.S. now, we have over 400 departments to regulate people, and let
Yeah.
alone, let's just say, if how many people will remember the name of 100 departments,
Yeah.
right? And then not let's talk along like the 400 department. That's too much of the
Yeah.
spending and
Yeah.
regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the United States, American people, the voters, are Caesar, and so this thing will return to Caesar what belonged to Caesar.
Yes, Bible. Hey, but this is a great one.
Okay. Yeah.
All right,
Well,
thank you, Dr. Phạm Hiểu Liêm, and thank you
thank you.
everyone for watching this video. I know a lot of audience here are Vietnamese, so let's say if you don't understand this video, we will have another video in Vietnamese for you. However, we would like to ask for your help by sharing this video to other people, younger generation, your children in the families, or your friends. Just share. Okay, thank you so much. And if you have not, click like or subscribe. Remember to subscribe the channel. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. I will see you again next time.
Thank you.